Welcome, friends. Hello. Welcome to the stream. I'm ready to go today. I'm pumped. Because the end is in sight. The end is nigh. Little Dresden Files reference for those people who've read the Dresden Files. But we're very close to finishing this figure, which will be the 9th figure in the series, and this will be the completion of the air zodiac signs. And today I finished assembling the earth signs. Hello there, Axe and Blitz. Not earth, fire. So I am all done with my assembly and basing and design of the remaining signs. Done a bad job of this clean up work on this figure. Hey mate, it's been happening. Might have to get pink in here. Let's get it started. Yes, awesome. Only about 3 minutes early, mate. Always pretty keen to pump on a Monday night, party Monday, but you know, when it's a public holiday, mate, it's just money for jam. And here. And come on, Dino. Stop breaking shit. Fucking idiot. Yeah, I get pretty pumped on a Monday as well, Darren. Alright. Not sure what we're going to do with this particular model yet. The colour palette is TBD, but I do think I want to lean a little bit more into pink on this one. Haven't got any pink really on the other areas, but this model feels like a bit of pink might be nice. Let me just show you what we've got on the others, and you might feel my vibe on why I think pink is the go. So this guy has got some purplish tones, pinkish tones in the figure, and then this one's got a little bit of purple. So I feel like a pink might just be a nice balance between the two. We'll see. I've got to add a little bit more shrubbery up in that area. I think it's a little bit unbalanced. Pretty happy with it so far, got to be honest. I think this is the best one of the three so far. Alright. I think we will go with... Do we want to try another African skin tone? She's sort of got the hair for it, but... I don't think we will. I did just see a gap that I need to fill. Had a really bad job assembling this model apparently. Really bad time. Alright. So let's get a couple of colours out here. Violet red could be nice. Would be nice. Bit of this laser magenta. And if you close your eyes, where is that colour that I'm looking for? Chalice red. There it is. And last one, this colour. This has become one of my new favourite colours, friends. Can't get it anymore, so I'll be disappointed when it runs out. But medium flesh from Nocturna. The Nocturna paint range, that they do the purple and the red and this flesh ones. They have just got some absolute all-timers that I use so frequently, and I'm going to be fucking devastated when they run out because you can't get them anymore. Devastated. Alright, let's crack on. Oh. So we're in the home stretch now for the next episode of Ted Lasso. It's only a day and a half away. Get excited. I am. I'm excited. This guy. 10 out of 10 levels of excitement over here. Alright. Time to relax and figure out what we're going to do with this pretty lady. So scales of balance. Scales of balance. Do we want to instead maybe go with the black and white palette? That could be interesting. It would also fit thematically with the colour palettes. Black and white from the snow, potentially. We could lean into like a white purple. These are the sorts of random questions I ask myself when I'm painting. They don't really make a lot of sense. Even to me. Oh, and by the way, there's 3 models in this entire series now that have their specific star sign patterns on the figure. Not all of them, just 3. It's great. I'm really happy about that. This one, Gemini, the one I painted yesterday, and the one that we spotted in the first one in Fire, which is Virgo. Alright, I actually am quite enjoying the idea of that white palette, so let's try for that, I think. It will be nice. Okay, so if we're going to do whites, let's use pastel violet. Where are you? Up there. So yes, this week should be a good one. We'll finish off the fire diorama if everything goes to plan, and be able to get into a new project. And that is a very exciting time. That's a little too pink, I think. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kicks were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. And they fall with expert timing. Oh. Oh. So this sequence of zodiac signs, the air, really feels like I found a whole lot of groove back that I hadn't really had for a while. Earlier in the year, I wasn't doing an awful lot of painting, and this project was a real spur of the moment one where I just decided I'm going to paint those models. Just pulled them out of the cupboard. I think I actually did it on stream. I was just like, I'm painting these, it's happening. And it did, and it has. But the first couple was still just me struggling a little bit to get a little bit of rhythm, paint what I was seeing in my head. But the last one, the last figures I've painted, they've all just been really good. Really good. Come together easily. Maybe. I mean, I don't really think I ever lost it. I think I just forgot how to paint a little bit. Although the organising of Crimson does take it out of me. It's a challenging time for me to try and paint. Which Jared's going to find out all about now. So Bucks got on the Discords with me yesterday, and we had a lovely chin wag with Ben. Bucks was very excited for tonight's topic. He was pumped. He'd written it down. He's like, "Dano, this is a topic, mate. It's going to be great." And I said, "Cool, man." He does a lot of thinking about the topics. He gets really excited about them. Big Dano. I just rock up. I don't remember, mate. I'll find out when he gets on. I'm sure it's going to be great. You know? It will be nice. There was something to do with Golden Demon, I think. Yeah, I think he wanted to talk about the reaction to Golden Demon. Or maybe we talked about that already. I don't know. He'll talk about it. I'll add the actual insightful commentary, but yeah, he'll talk. So you may have noticed that I'm doing all of this stuff white first, even though my normal approach is to do skin tone. Well, the reason I'm doing that is this is an airbrush colour. You cannot do white, in my opinion, well without using the airbrush to really hammer the colour home. So I'm not going to bother fucking around with masking stuff. We're just gonna raw dog it. It's going to catch some overspray on these other areas. But you may ask, well, Dano, why did you paint those other areas? I'll give you the reason. 2, 1, I didn't really decide that I was doing white until halfway in. And 2, because sometimes you need other colours blocked in to be able to see if you have enough contrast or value in your colour. And for this white, we definitely need to see the other areas around it to work out if we've gone bright enough. Captain Carp, welcome to the stream, mate, and thank you for your subscription. 8 months is a very long time. I appreciate it. definitely wasn't sure if I would still be streaming when I first started it in 2021. That I'd still be doing it 2 years later. And whilst my frequency and enthusiasm's not the right word, my enthusiasm's still there, but my commitment to really trying to do the streaming properly, I guess, has wavered a little. My enthusiasm to paint is still going strong. After the boys of summer have gone. Bam, 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 bam. This is annoying as fuck. This model keeps spinning around on the base. So I can either glue it or I can just hold it. I'm going to hold it for the moment. Well, that makes one of yous. The voice inside my head said, don't look back, you can never look back. Thought I knew what love was, what did I know? Those days are gone forever. I should just let them go, but I can see you. Watch the sun in the sun. And I can tell you my love for you still be strong after the boys of summer have gone. Ah, white, you mongrel. You mongrel of a colour. That'll just about do us, I think. Bam, bam. So this is a glaze with the airbrush, and you can see when I sprayed on this black that it is pretty dilute, but I'm going to even turn that down a smidge, it's a bit too strong. The angle is really, really important here. If you get the angle wrong, it will not work for smoothing. Oh, no promises. Alright, that is pretty good. We might leave it at that and do some other stuff because I think we can blend it from there. if we need to. Okay. These pants. Alright, I now feel like I have to do these strappies in this colour. So I need to... Oh, no apologies necessary, mate. This stream is provided for your entertainment, not for mine. So you don't need to apologise for not participating. In fact, it is I who should apologise to you for not being more entertaining. I tell you what, I'm obsessed with this guy. I'm sure most people would be familiar with this guy if you've been around the internet for any period of time. He's the train guy. You know, the guy who makes just videos of him absolutely busting a nut over the fucking trains? I fucking love him. I can't get enough of the guy. He's just some nerdy dude who loses the plot over trains, and I just love him. It's just such wholesome content. He's just the guy who loves his trains, and he's just unabashedly enthusiastic about them and unabashedly sharing his love for them. And I'm 100% convinced he's a little bit autistic. Because I'm 100% convinced that I'm a little bit autistic. And I recognise the wonderful qualities in this guy that makes him so enthusiastically devoted to trains. What a guy. What an absolute stud. If you don't know the guy, his name's Francis Bourgois or something. Hey, thanks TVB Denver. Let me show you what this is going on. It's going on this. With this chick. It's going to be the same piece as this. And this. It's going to sit right on this stick. It's going to be cool. We hope. I'm sure someone can link the train guys fucking Snap or whatever it is. Instagrams. He's just a wonderful guy. Thank you, mate. I hope it will be when it's all finished.
The champ is here. The champ is here.
I've been here for a while, mate, but welcome.
Why can I hear myself right now? No, I can't. There we go. We're sorted. No. Unless you won the 8-man NBA fantasy league that I'm in today, then you are not the champ. In fact, I am the champ.
I am definitely the champ. I would have figured out how to turn your face back on, though.
I haven't turned it on yet, have I? Don't think. Let me just... Oop. There you go.
No, I've forgotten. I've lost it. What have I done? Where has it gone, Dano? What are you doing in your life? Oh, hang on. We need to go to the other stream channel, Andy.
Do we? Okay.
I fixed it.
There we are.
He's back.
G'day, everyone. G'day, mate. How are we this wonderful Party Monday?
I'm doing all right, pal. I'm doing all right. It's been a nice couple of relaxing days. Sitting at home, chipping away on my project. You know, really just finding some groove back in the miniature painting. It's been
G'day,
nice.
Spear. G'day, Scar. Yeah, it seems that your rhythm has continued from last Party Monday on to now.
Yes.
In fact, it may have even increased.
It has increased, yes. So we're at a point now where I think we're less than a week out from finishing the whole kit and caboodle.
Awesome. So what else is the news apart from me taking down my fantasy league in the championship game today? While simultaneously my NBA team decided that at huddle on halftime it'd be a good idea to literally punch the fuck out of each other.
The Minnesota Timberwolves, I believe.
That is in fact correct.
Well done, champions.
And even better than that, my football team decided that they were going to win half a game of football and then lose by 120 points. Hey, so it's been a delightful day of feelings for sport.
Well done, mate. Well done to you.
As a keen spectator and fan of sport, I think you can share in my elation that we won our game and will in fact be playing the LA Lakers in the play-in, but my complete and utter despair for my beloved football club being utterly smashed across the park. Evening, Timbo.
Well, the Cowboys also got the shit kicked out of them this weekend by a team that's been in the comp for approximately 6 weeks. So,
the Dolphins. They seem to be collecting names at a rapid rate.
They are just scalping everyone, and it's unacceptable for a Cowboys supporter like myself. But anyway, hello there, Jared.
So g'day Jared, I've got a great question for everyone. Whether you're sporting or not, are you the type of person that likes to see the loser get up? Or are you the type of person that loves to see winners win and losers lose, and it should always be that way?
Look, let me answer that, because I love to see an underdog win, right? I love to see an underdog win. But there should be some balance in the universe that says underdogs are underdogs because they don't win that often, right?
Yeah.
And that makes it all the more special when they do win. The Dolphins have won 5 out of 6 or fucking whatever it is, and it's a load of shit.
and they've beaten actual teams as well, haven't they?
Yep.
They're not just kind of just picking off mid exception teams. They're claiming names. Yeah.
It's unacceptable. Anyway.
Unacceptable.
It might be nice.
So, So we've got the third contestant on the air piece. Yeah, Wayne Bennett is a bit of a genius. So, I mean, he's looking like one right now. But yes, the third contestant in the air piece right now.
Yes.
I think she's my favourite sculpt of the three.
Definitely my favourite sculpt of the three, without any contestation.
Yeah, the monk trope has always been a really cool one, hasn't it? Particularly in the and if there is any yoga enthusiasts in the chat, please give me the official title of this pose. But we're going to call it the P pose right now.
I think it's no, it's not warrior pose, but it's close to warrior pose. Warrior pose is like you stretch out.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably there was this collection of 4 or 5 monks that were made a little while back by I can't think of the name, but it was an Italian company, and Mirko Cavalloni did a collection of them on a tree. It was a fucking amazing diorama. Oh, thanks, Robbie's Hobbies. You sparked a watch streak. What the fuck is that?
That means he's been here for 3 consecutive streams. I think it's a new thing that Twitch had because it gave me an opportunity to offer that up to the chat as well. But I was offering literally, I think, maybe 2. Oh, no, actually, it'll be like 3 as well. It's a warrior pose, but not sure which one. It's been a long while since you did yoga. Cool. True legend, Robbie. True legend. Oh, all right. Calm down with the flex.
Jared.
Yeah, 14-month sub.
Jeez Louise. I'm gonna have to get back into the yoga now that I'm back into touch football, mate, because my muscles are just crying. I went for a jog yesterday, and I feel like I've torn about 17 muscles in my body.
Your body weight.
Oh.
From parts of you.
It's been
It's
been nearly a week, mate, since I played. I'm just ugh.
So I think we do have another topic for tonight, but before we dive on into that, I managed to spend some time with the beloved, lovable DC today. He came over for a visit.
That's very nice of him, and he brought his camera by the looks.
No, those were actually the photos from Crimson. They were just when he sent me the raws. So that was what the raws looked like compared to the compressed. So I was able to extract a much better photo. And I'd been sitting on them for quite a while. And I just overthink things. So I just was like, you know what my brain was telling me? It was like, everyone's seen this before. You can't share this. And then the logical part of my brain said, shut the fuck up. This is your Instagram to document your miniature painting and journey, so just post them. And then I was like, that was pretty freeing. I'm just going to post every single one of them right now.
Good work, mate.
Which is everything you should not do if you want to use Instagram to its best use or to its highest value. But you know, we're not really out here to appease Instagram, are we, mate?
Well, I'm certainly not. I don't know about you. No.
Anyway, yes.
So
no, they were just the photos from Crimson Brush. No, what he actually came over today for was to pick up some things then to show me his new Niobe, which was really cool.
What were your thoughts on it in the flesh?
It's really, really good in the flesh. It's better in the flesh than it is in the it is in the hand.
Yeah.
And we had a lovely chat this afternoon. We talked a little bit about teaching and a few other things. Talked a little bit about just about painting and hobby and how things are going in general. We didn't talk at all about his new secret piece that he's working on. So for everyone at home, he is working on a secret piece, but I couldn't get anything out of him.
Yeah, maybe I'll try.
Yeah, give it a go. Although what I did do, because if you remember, we sort of started off the stream last week with talking about Dave's piece and sort of talking about Dave, and I brought up the sort of the take that we had in regards to him painting feminine subject matter and how he excels at it, and it's very, very natural to him. And I sort of word for word gave him our conversation in regards to what you think are his best pieces versus what he thinks is his best pieces, or what I think his best pieces are as well. You remember that?
Yep. And what did I say? I said...
Interestingly, so you said the three pieces that you think are his best pieces.
And that troll. Is that right?
Yes. You said, yeah, dwarf, troll, orc, mercenary goblin, I think. And interestingly enough, I said, I think it's the feminine subject matter is his best. But I said if I was choosing my own personal, I would agree with you. And Dave is in the exact same camp as I am. So, and you are. If he had to choose his own personal favourites, he would choose those ones. But he thinks his better works are the feminine ones.
Mm.
And he said, what's really interesting is because I really liked painting the dwarf, the mercenary goblin and the other two. So, yeah, I thought that was quite fascinating.
I just find, and I'm not going to say anything surprising here, but I find David's work very transparent when he's enjoyed something.
Mm-hmm.
When he hasn't, it feels like it. I can tell.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's many female figures that he's really loved when he's reached the end of them.
I think he really likes Niobe.
Well, that would be one of my, I think his best one in terms of females by a mile, but yeah.
His Lazar is very good, and his Cozy was incredible as well. I think they're all in the same sort of space, those ones. And I think his what's it called is really good. Although you have had criticisms for the metallics on it, his is it not Andromeda? What's her name? The one we used for the Crimson Brush backing poster.
What, the chick with the book? Oh no, Thanatos.
No, the one with the bleeding kind of heart.
Thanatos.
Not Ezra. Yeah, Thanatos. Yeah. Yeah. So I just thought it was super interesting that he was like pretty much in agreement with us all the way. In regards to, so in agreement with you about what he enjoyed the most. In agreement that the three pieces that you like and I like are probably the three pieces he likes the most, but then also in agreement that feminine subject matter is a real strength of his. He also had an interesting take that not a lot of people are painting, like at the other end, are actually painting that stuff. What did you think about that?
Females?
Yeah. There's a select few that are, but not everyone.
Well, I know you don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite open to it. I've painted a few, but yeah, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't want to stake my nutsack on it. There's a lot of people out there that paint pretty ladies.
Yeah.
Like Lan and Natalia and a few others, but
yeah, it's sort of like when we were thinking about it, we're like Lan, Natalia, Mark, and Arnau.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've sort of named 4 or 5 of the best painters in the world there, mate. So I don't think your hypothesis really stands up that well.
This is not my hypothesis, but anyway.
Yeah. He's a lovely man, Dave. I've got nothing but love for him. So
yeah.
I'm sure his secret project will blow you and I out of the park, mate.
Yeah, I think so.
But
I think so. I'm very much looking forward to seeing it.
We'll give him a run. We'll throw the hat in the ring.
Well, in order to throw the hat in the ring, I'd have to paint something, Chad.
All right. Well, I'll throw the hat in the ring. What's tonight's topic? Tonight's topic? Jared's asked a great question, but you talk about the topic for tonight, so I can start thinking about it because I didn't think about it.
Okay. So the topic is the Golden Demon conversations over the last week or so some of the content creation that's going on, the discussion about open judging versus closed judging, I guess, or just use closed as the placings judging system. Probably dive that a little bit more in depth than what we usually do, which is more often than not we're sort of explaining what open is and what the advantages are to open, and we sort of leave it at that. But there's probably a broader discussion about the impact of these styles of judging on painters and their experience painting. So partly prompted by Vince's video, which I think is a pretty interesting take into the situation. I think there's actually been a few, in all honesty, since the US Golden Demon that's popped up, and I think there's a lot of opinions being expressed. So it's probably a good measure of conversation. Yeah, so and while you have a bit of a think about that, I guess, because we had a bit of a chat about it yesterday. Jared, you asked the question: do you find men or women easier to paint? Well, I had this discussion again once today about this, and I think the truth is that men are easier to paint than women, and I think it's men are easier to paint than women because the skill set required to paint women or feminine subject matter tends to require a level of subtlety that only comes later on, because there's a really tough challenge with subtlety about being subtle but not too subtle, which a lot of people are too subtle when they paint women, and so it loses, it can look flat, or it can look uninspired, or sometimes it just I don't know, find other words, I guess, to say the same thing, but I don't think that's necessary. Whereas when you're painting men, one thing that you can be when painting men often is more harsh, or harsher in general. You can be harsher in the way that you apply light and shadow. Often male features are quite sharp and pronounced, so you can adapt a lot more of the skills you may have acquired during miniature painting across, particularly on faces. Now, obviously, there are some pitfalls around that, which often pop up when we're doing feedback for people in the street. It can be a case of like using too many darks and not enough lights, stuff like that. But yeah, I think for me personally, that's the case. Also, if you think about areas, often in sculptures, female stomachs are incredibly soft and quite elegant in the way that they're sculpted. The musculature is much more fluid, whereas when you look at male musculature, you're usually painting somewhere between a 6 and a 12 pack. The muscles are exaggerated. Like pretty much everyone is doing steroids to a high degree. I think that it's much easier when the muscles are really bulging and popping out to see where shadow goes and where light goes, based on the fact that you can already see that happening on the miniature. Whereas when you look at female sculpts in that way, I think it's a lot more challenging to see that. What do you think, Trey?
I'll counterpoint. I think females are easier because you can use an airbrush. Now, that presupposes that you know volumes and how things interact and all that sort of stuff, because yeah, on the surface I absolutely agree with your perspective that men are easy to paint because it doesn't require that level of subtlety that you're talking about. But if you understand,
it's incredibly hard, right? The subtlety part on women.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. If you understand the volumes and you understand what you're doing, then I actually think women are easier to paint. So, it's an important skill to be able to do both. Put it that way, because they both are just different sides of the same coin, right? You've got skin. You need to be able to do texture, and you need to be able to do smooth. And if you can do textured and smooth skin, you can do textured and smooth anything. So,
Well, this is true. The texture appears a lot less in female skin than it does in male skin. Or the texture, actually, I will say the texture changes. Like the type of texture you're using changes for male skin and female skin. For male skin, you can use harsher, more expressive textures like scratches and dotting and all of this sort of stuff, right? You can use blemishes in a different way.
Yeah.
You can sync eyes. You can, really like adding purple to the underside of a man's eye is simpler than adding it to a woman's eye, right? You add it to a woman's eye, and it's like, well, is this makeup? Is this sunken eyes? You've got more questions that need to be answered. So, whereas I think the textures that you're deploying when you're painting females is often like, and Storm and Natalia are pretty, and even Anna are like awesome at this sort of stuff, like the little blemishes around the chest, yeah, and the unusual patterning of freckles and all of that sort of stuff. You're less likely to see that on.
Airbrushing with my two favorite allies. Airbrushing is why I think women are easier, because when you can use your airbrush with maximum efficiency, it just becomes super easy to do female skin. But again, that presupposes that you have that skill.
There's sort of a fine line between losing your volumes on an airbrush as well, or blending your volumes too far.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk Golden Demon. So Vinci's video, obviously, emotive. Does that fact lose him credibility or gain him credibility?
Do you wanna kick us off on this one, and then I'll follow you up?
Well, I think he loses credibility because of his emotiveness. He's obviously invested in the result. He's obviously invested in time and effort into it, and that means that his perspective has to be clouded by his experiences. And look, at one of the most fascinating quantum mechanics things is that observing something changes its nature, right? So by virtue of Vince being there, he's got a different perspective on someone who wasn't there. I've gone way off field with that, by the way.
I mean, when you're talking about perception, is what you're talking about, right?
We can talk about that. I could talk about that all the time. I fucking love quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Pavlov's dog.
Yeah. So, but let's put that aside, because I think, Vince is one person whose perspective I still trust despite the biases, because I met the guy. He came down to Crimson back in the days when it was Crystal Dragon, and had a wonderful time, and got to speak to him, and it was clear that this guy just loves painting, right? He just loves it, and he entered some stuff, did really well, but he had to spend most of his time at the AOS event, because that was sort of where he committed to coming to the event for. And I think there was a bit of disappointment in him, because he really did want to just come and hang out with the painters, but he couldn't. So yeah, I say that because I think Vince's character is important. He's obviously emotive about it. He's obviously feeling frustrated about the fact that the whole premise of a 1, 2, 3 is about finding the best, and it leaves no room for the other things that are important around an event like that, which is encouraging the community, bringing people together, all the things that you need to do to create a sustainable and successful event. Golden Demon doesn't do, because it has the backing of G-Dub, and it doesn't need to. So particularly if you go back to America, Golden Demon in the early Golden Demon times, the American Golden Demon was the most cutthroat. Bobby Wong, Victor, all those guys who used to just do fucking banger works. They used to lock themselves in their room and do those works and not share them with anyone, not talk about with anyone. That in itself for me is the problem with this type of event. I've talked a lot. What do you think, Bucks?
Well, first off, like if we reference anyone's videos, like I'm just going to say, like we're not out to get them in any way or anything like that. We're just sort of joining the conversation.
I'm out to get Vince.
You're out to get Vince, but we have a personal relationship with Vince. Not only did you spend time with him at CanCon, but you also have been interviewed by Vince for the interview with an artist as well. So I don't have a relationship with Vince, so I can only speculate.
My only relationship with Scott and fucking John Ninus is the dogs didn't talk about me in their fucking diorama video. The dogs.
Yeah. You're like, if they, I know that Scott occasionally watches these, doesn't he? Occasionally, I don't know if he does anymore, but he used to watch the streams a little bit back in the day. So if he is watching, you've hurt Trent's feelings a lot.
Yeah, your dogs.
Boys.
Your dogs.
You've really hurt his feelings. He was pretty salty about this one. He's brought this one up at least every week for the last, well, ever since you released the video, really.
Oh, fucking salty as shit about it, man.
So if we go back to the start, I think that the stuff that Vince talks about what he enjoys in the hobby and what he wants to be a part of in the hobby, particularly with painting, I really agree with that. Yeah, I agree heavily with the desire to want to share what's awesome and to big up everyone who's involved. Finding awesome things about all the individual pieces is always going to be something that I value more than trying to find fault. And I think that I agree with the idea that Golden Demon is about finding faults rather than celebrating wins, celebrating really awesome things. You know, whether it's atmosphere or a conversion that you know is really linked to the lore and tells a story, or the execution of some awesome non-metal metallic or true metallic or whatever.
You remember what I said to you? Remember what I said to you last week? I said, Golden Demon, what I want out of a winning entry is I want it to make me go, wow, that's fucking awesome. I want to have a wow moment. And I don't think that is a determining factor for judges in this event. I think, as you said, it's about technically who performed the most flawless victory in this entry, in this competition. And that's not, in my opinion, the thing that we want to be celebrating. As you said, it's
less about who had style on the surfboard and more just who had stayed on the surfboard the longest, right? Also, I like that Vince was pretty elegant in not leveling an attack at any one person or the judges or anything like that. And in fact, I think defended the judges because the judges are representing a brand and they are not necessarily making the final decisions themselves on the way things are to be done or the way that people have to interact or anything like that. And I can also see it from the other side as well, in that you probably do, when you're a big company, want to limit the amount of people who are outwardly facing and speaking to the public. That's just kind of business 101, right, mate? Like that's not like a new thing.
Yeah, you know, if one of my store managers calls me and he's like, "Oh, Dano, there's a fucking news crew here," my response is not, "Yeah, just fucking go ham, mate. Talk to me about whatever you want. Just fucking go ballistic. You'll be right."
Yeah, just how you feel.
Yeah, just really lay it on. You know, it's like.
So I really understand that as well. One thing I believe, and this is what I believe in as Andrew, and I am proud to say that we do uphold this at Crimson Brush, is that if you are going to take an authoritative position in the community with a competition, so if you are a judge or someone who's seen to have a value in feedback. So, for example, you didn't judge last year, but you still, when you walk around the room, people still value your opinion and want your feedback on things. Yeah. If you're in a position like that, outside of what we just stated, you have to be willing to give your time to the entrants and participants and help them with what they have asked you, to a degree, of course, like, within a fairness, and that is offering feedback, praising what's been done well, maybe offering some advice on what you could do better, all of that sort of stuff. That's super important and a really valuable asset at a painting competition. So I agree with him there. But I've rambled just like you did for a bit. You asked me a question, and that question was, do I feel that the emotive nature of the video or the content is that having a positive effect on the argument or the topic, or is it having a potentially a negative one? And I think that I'm probably in agreement with you in that if you have attended the event and had these feelings arise, then it would be almost impossible to not have that seep into
I just want to divert slightly, and we'll come back, because I did a emotional intelligence quiz at work a little while ago, and emotional intelligence. How in tune are you with your emotions? How well do you allow your emotions to affect your judgment, right? And my reading on all of these sort of questions that we're trying to ascertain my emotional intelligence. There was one question that was, how often do you allow your emotions to influence your decision making? How often do you allow your emotions to, try to involve emotion in your arguments or decision making? It was a really fascinating quiz. I obviously scored extremely highly in some areas, and in one area, unsurprisingly, how often do I allow emotion to influence my decision making? I scored extremely low. Now, the person who was doing the quiz sort of talked about this one circumstance, which was really interesting, which was that people that went in to have salary negotiations and talked emotively about their achievements and about their work performance, and really, really made an impassioned plea as to why they deserved a pay rise, were something like 75% more successful in getting a pay rise versus people that simply presented facts and logic.
Yes.
And so the reason I bring this up is because sometimes emotion can strengthen your argument, right?
Absolutely. I mean, showing passion is an incredibly powerful way of communicating.
Yeah. Now, I obviously, I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, well, like if someone comes and starts telling me why they deserve a pay rise and they're fucking having a meltdown over stuff, I'm not going to take that seriously. But obviously, that wasn't the point of the discussion. No. It was just sometimes emotion can positively influence your decision making.
Well, that's the difference between positive emotion and or perceived negative emotion. So if someone comes in and is like, I should get a pay rise because I've been here for ages, and fucking Jimmy got a pay rise 2 months ago and we basically do the same job, like, you're going to be like, I'm not really inspired by this conversation, or maybe not even wanting to be rewarding these behaviors or requests, right?
Yeah.
Whereas someone comes in and goes, hey, I'm incredibly enthusiastic about moving up in the business. I want to learn. I want to be more involved. Here is where I can get better, but here is where my values and strengths are. And I do think that my values and strengths are worth more than I'm currently, being awarded. I'm hoping that there is room for a negotiation on potentially raising up into a new bracket. You're going to be much more interested in that conversation, right?
Yeah. So the reason I bring this up in reference to, Vince or whomever speaking emotively about the weekend, in some ways it strengthens their argument, right? Because they obviously give a shit. You know, like
Yes, yeah, they really can.
they're
Yeah.
not gonna speak with passion and with, you know, with emotion if they don't give a shit, right? So from that perspective, I'm in absolute support of bringing emotion to the table.
Yeah, and I guess here's a good point to say, like again, if Vince ever catches this stream or any of our previous streams or whatever, you know, thanks for bringing the topic up and having the stones to sort of get out there, make some videos and you know, talk from where you feel. Like, you know,
I
there's
think
courage in that.
I think
So I think that should be acknowledged.
probably the timing is the part that really damages their message, because when you've had a couple of weeks to assimilate results and a couple of weeks to just, you know, process information, and you come back and you're still sitting there thinking to yourself, you know what, I'm really passionate about this, I need to talk about it. You know, that is when emotion is at its best. What potentially comes across is more of a, I didn't get an award and I'm upset about that, so I want to make an angry video. Now,
Yeah, or it's usually like before even upset, it's a feeling of injustice,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Now, I'll say that I don't think that's the case for Vince. I think that may be the case for other people, or certainly other people are feeling that way. But there's got to be some level of personal responsibility in any and every situation that you find yourself in life, and in a competition where you are putting yourself up against other people, the possibility exists that you will not succeed, and you need to just accept that. You know, like that is everything that you need to know about life right there. Sometimes you lose, and that's okay.
It's incredibly important to learn how to lose, which is really really funny because I've spent this weekend with my daughter,
Yeah.
and my daughter is not a great loser. Yeah, and so my daughter, I have a side tangent here. We had an egg and spoon race out the front of the house, and all the kids were getting involved. And my mother, my mother, old Daisy, tucked herself in the race with the kids and absolutely smashed them. And there were 3 awards to be handed out for first, second, and third. Funnily enough, we're here again, which meant that with the 3 kids plus my mum, someone was going to miss out. And so the race went that my mum won fair and square, and she cheated in the first race accidentally. So she started the race further back. She was penalised for her cheating. She started the race further back, but she still managed to win the race fair and square the second time around. The second youngest came second with a really good run, and it was excellent to see her concentrate and really put her best efforts in to do that. And then my daughter and my eldest niece came equal third because they both dropped their egg at the same time. And so, long and the short of it, I decided the only way to award third place was to have an individual run between the two to see who would win and win third. My daughter got a great start, but the moment she saw her older cousin getting ahead of her, she decided to sabotage herself and make it all a bit silly, dropping her egg so that she could control the narrative, right? She could control that she didn't actually lose, she was just being silly. But lo and behold, when her eldest cousin was awarded the bronze trophy, she became incredibly upset and had no skill set for processing the loss. So my weekend was spent teaching her a set of valuable lessons, and the mantra humble in victory and gracious in defeat, and what that means, and how we should carry ourselves in a competitive environment. Now, a lot of this applies to competing in miniature painting. And to that, great question, Robbie. Maybe my tangent's gone on a little bit too long, but I think the point remains the same. I think that people who have grown accustomed to losing and understand how to process those feelings often do better in competitive environments, and maybe better at processing these sorts of feelings that we're talking about. What do you think, mate?
I love that story. Wonderful notes there for your daughter. I'm super big on losing, just being an absolute crucial part of life.
Yeah.
I think I've shared this story before about how I went at the WTC and seeing my team relegated to fourth place, and watching people that I'd spent the previous 12, 18 months with super closely breaking down in tears. And that memory stays with me to this day. And in many ways, that loss has turned me into the person that I am now, the person that I'm, pretty proud of.
Yeah.
And it would not in any way be possible without me losing what could be an absolute soul-crushing moment in life. Has instead turned out to be one of the most positive things that's ever happened to me.
G'day, all, mate. Sneak in there for a quick one.
You have to lose, right? You have to lose in life. Show me an absolute elite sports person, and I will show you someone who's had the shit kicked out of him on many occasions.
Often the most elite people in sport have lost the most.
Yeah.
It's
Without belaboring the point too much.
Yeah.
Vince is not a guy who is driven by envy or angst about results.
Particularly not results for other people. I want to emphasize that, because that's a big backbone of his video, is that he would rather be spending his time celebrating his friends and peers' achievements than his own.
Yep. So we find ourselves in this position where someone in the community who is well respected and whose opinion we trust, is really disappointed about the results that have come out. It is, yes, mate, this is scale, this is Libra. And all that we're left with then is, well, how does the scene evolve from this point? For Golden Demon, maybe not so much, but maybe more so the American scene. They had an event called Crystal Rush, which ended 2 years ago.
Three. So before COVID, right? The last year before COVID was its final.
Not sure what the context of it finishing up was.
I can give you that one, because I think Scott did an interview with one of the lead organisers. In fact, maybe it's the lead organiser or someone who sits at the highest end of Adepticon. And I believe that the reality was, in the end, the Crystal Dragon competition had fallen out of alignment with what Adepticon wanted out of their painting competition.
Were they trying to celebrate more of a homegrown vibe, or was it more of?
I think it was more an inclusive vibe that covered all aspects of miniature painting, not just the sharpest, pointiest end of miniature painting.
And this, to bring this back to a really close to home topic, we stay close to these sorts of things because we want to understand what's the best competition that we can run for our scene, for the people in our country, and as well as for us to help develop and grow, and not just our event, but also the skill level within our community. Because
that's our like that. There is our mission statement, really, isn't it? It's to
one thing that's super
raise the bar as much as we possibly can for anyone who's involved and wants to put the work in.
One thing that's super important, though, right, is one thing that Golden Demon absolutely does do is it forces people to really bring their absolute best fucking possibly that they've ever done works, right? You don't see people rocking up to Golden Demon and just chucking in a few models because they're like, yeah, man, this is, I was just knock this up. I just thought I'd chuck it in, bulk out the numbers, right? You don't see that happen. People bring their best, and so there's got to be some value in encouraging people to drop their absolute pinnacle of their works on the table, because that's what you want out of a painting competition, right? You want people pushing themselves to be better. So we need to balance the drive to foster a positive community and a welcoming community with the need to have an event that forces people to
grow, to challenge themselves. Grow is the outcome. The act is to challenge themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. We have intent to do that for next year in a few ways, and I think really crucially, encouraging those painters at the top end versus encouraging those painters at the bottom end is two different conversations. And now that I reflect on the conversations we had after this year's Crimson, it seems so obvious in hindsight that a standard and a masters category is the right way for us to move forward, because it tailors to those two demographics. But my personal opinion was that we didn't want to artificially segregate this community into what is essentially a pretty small community into two groups that might have made one people feel inferior. But
ostracized, yeah.
But the reality is that those people already feel inferior because they see this high quality of work and they think, well, I can't ever compete with that. So we don't need to worry about them feeling inferior. We need to worry about encouraging them to enter in a way that they feel is going to benefit them.
With a support structure in place that helps milestone them into masters, right?
So it's such a fascinating fascinating topic that Vince has brought up, because and others, because that's what it boils down to for me. Their scene over in America is a cutthroat one where you don't see a lot of people wanting to go out of their way to help each other out. I mean, I don't hear about too many American painters doing classes. I don't hear about too many American painters wanting to travel overseas to do classes.
I think we are being a little bit generalist here in saying all of America, because there are groups and
there's for sure. But anytime I can throw some shade at Americans, mate, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, look, it's just an Australian thing, right? It's all in good jest, really. Thanks for accommodating me. No problems, Cara. I mean, I agree with what you said there, and I feel very aligned with our goals right now for Crimson Brush and for the future of it, and what we want to do with the event and the purpose of the event. And I agree totally that this is probably why a conversation like this is incredibly important to us, because it is really tied to what we're passionate about event-wise in not only our country but the rest of the world. I wouldn't hesitate to say that I think the UK Golden Demon is probably just as cutthroat, if not more cutthroat. But I think there is an established culture for the UK Golden Demon, as it is really, you could really just call it European Golden Demon at this point.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation, actually, because I agree that the UK Golden Demon is often just like a big hangout, big get together. So that's probably another insight into why I think the American painting scene probably needs to try and put together their own event that is a little bit more focused on, hey, let's help each other. Let's help each
other. So Robbie said that the GD culture and painting scene kind of dominates the UK over there. And you know what, it probably does, and I mean, it is the home of Warhammer, and it is the competition that celebrates what I comfortably can say after our conversation last week. It celebrates a style of painting or a system, or both systems and styles of painting that you can track to that part of the world. Um,
Yep.
Showing you got into Spanish G2, I think everyone here is going. I would love to see, it was great to see Alfonso sharing some old photos of Team Spain from back in the day, back in the early 2000s. Do you remember the old red t-shirts with the little, whatever it was, with the paintbrushes and stuff? I thought that was super cool to see. Some fresh-faced Spanish kids getting out there and mixing it up, throwing it down.
Fucking Alfonso was in there. Even Angel Giraldez was in there.
Yeah, I think David Rodriguez was in there. Carrick, yeah. Hey, Wampa. How you going, mate?
Hey, Wampa. We're laying into Americans, mate, so be prepared.
A hot take, or not a hot take, I think America is sort of a couple of rungs on the ladder ahead of us in regards to event running.
Oh, for sure.
So I think, I think America has no problem in bringing people into the country.
But that's a matter of scale, right? America's got a fucking gigantic population. We don't have that. Where I think, America falls down, as we just said, it's not a place where people are out there going, you know what, I really want to share and bring everything that I've learned to the table to help everyone in our community be better. Whereas I feel like that's something that we.
Well, Vince is definitely that person.
Vincey is, and Sam does a Patreon, and Eric does streams and stuff. Yeah. There's people, but if you look at the number of painters versus the number of people going,
yes, I think it's less of a cultural,
Here's the thing about Aussies, right? We will absolutely tear the tall poppy down. If someone's got their head up their ass, we'll tell them all about it, and we will give it to them for relentless. But at the same time, if someone's struggling, we will also be the first people there to lend them a hand.
In the trenches, yeah. And I guess it's a part of our inverted humour as well, right? Is that we have amongst Australians, we have a very cocky humour to each other.
Yeah.
Because it fuels the tall poppy syndrome, right? So the best way to stir all your mates up is to make sure they know who the king is.
Yeah.
Or in my case, who the champ is.
Yeah.
So, again, if you weren't here earlier in the stream, it was a wonderful victory to me today as I dismantled my competition in our NBA Fantasy League. At this point now, you can also call me the Michael Jordan of fantasy if you'd like, Trent. That'd be awesome. Thanks, mate.
Don't think I'll do that, mate. But fair enough.
No.
Hey, we'll talk about this a little later on. I played a game of Warhammer Underworlds today.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So look, where to for us from this conversation? Pretty simply, we double down on our values, on our mantra,
and philosophy,
on what we want our event to be and what we want our community to be, and.
Well, I just want to say, Eddie Bucks, let's go, Robbie. That's got a ring to it. That might be my new Instagram handle. Let me find a bit of footage. Let me get something for the team. Maybe we can get this on stream.
Maybe we could.
So I just want to say a quick one for and this is not a stroke, but. For everyone who is involved in our Australian scene, you should definitely give yourself a little pat on the back, because what the stuff that I do see from our community, although it's small, does emphasise these values in spades. So keep doing what you're doing. And for anyone who's not from Australia and you want to come over and have a really good time and do a painting event and maybe see a wonderful country that's a really, really, really long way to get to.
It's actually not that far from America. I mean, for Europe it is, but America's not too bad. It's only about 12, 13 hours.
16 hours from LA.
Yeah. No, it's not 16. Not from Brisbane.
Oh, well, into Brisbane, but down in our end it's 16.
Yeah, who cares about where you are? Fucking Melbourneites wankers. I want to talk about something else that Vince said in that video, which is something that's really important to me, and I talk about it a lot on here. Is just why do we paint? Why do we paint? And it's about goal setting. It's about understanding why you paint. And Vince's resolution that he came to after this sort of experience was that, you know what, I wasn't having fun when I was painting these fucking things, and I just want to have fun when I'm painting because it's such a huge part of my life. So fuck this noise, I'm just going to go paint some models and have fun. And I just could not agree more with that mentality in miniature painting, in life. You know, we just we spend so much time like grinding. You know, you it's like the constant pressure.
You just spend a lot of time alone in this hobby.
Yeah, but you know how like it feels like everything in the world derives from success. You know, it's like you judge on your success, and if you're doing this little hobby and you're spending hundreds and hundreds of hours on it, it's like culture is telling you that if you're not successful at a competition, that's wasted time. And I fundamentally disagree with that because of, again, that experience that I had overseas and how I felt after that. And when I reflect back on that experience, I'll tell you the thing I'm not thinking about is that moment. I'm thinking about the week that we spent beforehand where we were just laughing and having a great time, right?
Yeah.
We just had a wonderful experience with our mates. And I look back and I go, well, what was actually the most important thing? Was it winning a little fucking toy soldier competition, or was it the experiences and the memories? You know, and
well, not to be an absolute sap, yeah, but I don't have a single award out that I've won for miniature painting, but I do have photos of my friends, you know, and the times that we spent together. And whenever we have a new event coming around, that's really what I'm looking forward to. So
I guess my support for Vince is overwhelming when he says, I'm just going to go paint some models for fun because that's what I want to do. Because fuck Vincey. That's all you should ever have been doing, mate. You know? That's the big Deno approach to life right there. And I have never enjoyed my hobby more than I have in the last few years. Because I've just been doing cool stuff, doing stuff that I want to do. And
sharing it with mates, sharing it with everyone who comes to the stream,
and trying to share that philosophy and that experience. It's just been great, you know. And at the same time, I've improved. Now that's not my goal, my ultimate goal. It's certainly something that I aspire to, is to improve. But it's not number one. It's not the thing that's driving me.
Well, that ebbs and flows, you know, doesn't it? You know,
it
can be, you know, yeah.
For sure, but I think, as I've said many times, it's just important to understand your goal. If your goal is to get better, great, that's okay. But you need to understand that comes with sacrifice, and that will also come with disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
And that disappointment should fuel you to be better. And you can't let that negativity drive you to doing dumb, stupid things.
Mm-hmm.
Like making videos crying about your shit diorama, Ninus.
It's rule number one. If it's not fun, it's not worth doing. I agree with you, Bear, 100%. Morning, Gallo.
Hello, Gallo Fire.
Fun for anything that is not a necessity of living or supporting your family, because that can sometimes be not fun, but something you need to do, and your friends again. Everything else should be something that you enjoy, right? Something that you're having fun doing, or at least should be a part of the thing you're doing.
It's tough. It's tough times out there, friends. We just need to get back to the thing that we love about this hobby. And the thing I love about this hobby has nothing to do with winning a little statue of a man.
No.
Let me say this, though, Bucks, right?
Yeah.
It's easy for me to say that because I have done it.
That is a great point, and I would say that that our experiences and our perceptions have been changed because we have achieved these goals.
So that is probably a take a grain of salt from us, because we did achieve it, and we did scale those mountains, and so we're telling people that haven't achieved it, oh, hey, it doesn't matter that much, right? But it does
Yeah.
matter to them. It does matter to them. So,
Well, that it does matter to them, that matters to us in a way. So we have gone in a big old circle, but I think all these stops along the way are actually pretty important to understanding your psychology surrounding miniature painting.
yeah.
Now, listen, we're not, I'm not going to say we are budget Kmart psychologists at best.
I'm slightly better than budget. I've got a little bit more. A little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, these things are important, and I guess what you're talking about there is ascertaining what's important to you.
Yeah. Yeah, Gallo Fire, that diorama would have just shat bricks all over him. Would have just fucking destroyed the scene. The best.
You got to believe in yourself. Like we've said before, if you don't have tickets on yourself,
yeah, you're doing something.
How can anyone else have tickets on you? You got to believe in yourself, that's for sure. Right, I've been on this whole last 10 minutes looking for this image. We'll get there. We will get. Yeah. So does that wrap us up on that conversation, or do we want to talk about the advantages of open judging and closed judging? I think that's something that we've discussed many times.
We've talked about that. Yeah, it's not news to anyone, right? It's open judging is supporting the scene. Closed judging is encouraging.
Okay, well, I'll ask you a question.
All right.
What weaknesses does open judging have?
It's a good question.
Because we'd be foolish to think it's just this black and white answer, right?
Yeah. One of the criticisms of open judging at a couple of years ago when I was at Monty was that it felt like everyone just got a prize.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there wasn't as much value placed on getting a prize as there was, maybe at some of the other events.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably a factor. I mean, it really depends on the rules of the whole competition. I don't think you can just say, hey, open in general, because open competition like Crimson, which just has one category and everything goes all in, versus an open which is split into other categories, is maybe a little bit more balanced and a little bit fairer.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I would say that open competition awards can sometimes only be as valuable as the people entering the competition.
Yep, it's a good one. Yeah, if you win an open event and it's just you and a couple of shit kickers like yourself, Andy, the value that you ascribe to that is probably not as much as you would ascribe to a first place at a Golden Demon, really. I don't know. That's such an interesting question, Bucks.
Yeah. So Robbie said, is competition even the right word for an open event? Competition implies a winner. And it does imply a winner and a loser, but you can still lose at an open event and still win at an open event. I would build on your question, and I would ask, does the nature of an open competition emphasize the desire to win a best in show more because it is an individual accolade that only one person can achieve?
Yeah, it certainly increases the value that you ascribe to the best in shows, the best of fantasy, the best of whatever else, which is kind of coming back to the model of Golden Demon. But I do think that open is a superior way to foster that competition, because even if you don't win that, you're not feeling as bad because, hey, you still won a medal, or you still, you still improved yourself.
Well, Slayer Sword is similar, right? So Slayer Sword is like, I believe, I don't know if it's a hard fact, but I think you're only choosing from the gold medals for Slayer Sword.
That's correct, yes. Look, all I'll say is this, friends, to finish this off. Entering competition takes balls, takes guts and courage to put yourself out there in front of your peers and say, this is me, this is what I can do, please like me.
Yeah, this is where I'm at in my journey, is what you're saying.
And it's absolutely a-okay to go to an event and not do well. As long as you feel like you are representing yourself truly, I just don't think you can go wrong. Anyway, I played Warhammer Underworlds today.
A lot of feelings in our first hour tonight. A lot of feelings in there. But you played some Underworld, so onto the other side of this wonderful hobby coin. Played some games.
Played some games. It was good fun. Put a little 3-player game on the table. I've never played Underworlds at 3-player.
Yeah, and did you play the most current version of the rules for Underworlds, or did you play a previous one?
We did play the most current version, sort of.
So did you play Rivals, or did you play...
So Rivals... Yeah, okay. So Rivals... So one of the dudes I play MCP with he's like, oh man, they just released a new rules pack for this, we should get into it. And I was like, oh yeah, I like Underworlds, it was a bit of fun. And he's like, yeah, let's fucking go. Let's go. And so... Yeah,
it doesn't take much to get you into a game, does it?
Well, I'll play anything, right? You put something in front of me, I'll play it. And kick the shit out of most people at it too. So it was good fun.
Yeah. I can account for the shit kicking that I received when we played a game of Marvel together.
We'll do feedback anytime, mate. Drop it on the board. Yeah, the thing I like about that game, right, is it's just quick, right? So you rack up, you play a game, and you're done half an hour later. And even multiplayer, it was still quick, because ultimately you're playing 12 actions in the game, 12. That's quick, right? That's fucking super quick. So that's a strength that probably is undersold, I think, in that game. More people should try it because of how quick it is. But it's fun.
It's a fun game, Underworlds. Yeah. It's got a fun scoring mechanic in it. I like that it explores different ways to win the game, not just through fighting. I mean, one of the greatest assets of Warhammer Underworlds is the models are awesome, and the atmosphere and feeling of each and theme of each warband gets to be expressed on a higher level often than other units in Warhammer. So I think that's super cool.
Easy to play a game, easy to buy a couple of warbands and just be like, yep, this is great. I'm having a great time. It's wonderful. Get amongst it.
Well, I was having a bit of a pump up on 40k, which is what I've been painting a fair bit of recently. And you tossed around the idea about maybe putting a little something together for that game, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I mean, so going back a long time ago now, mate. I played 40k. I played Space Wolves. I played White Scars. I played a little bit of Eldar. I think it's a game that is absolutely terrible, but the thing we were talking to Benny yesterday, and he hit the nail on the head. Right? I don't often say this about Benny, but he absolutely crushed it. Right? He kicked it out of the park. The thing that I love about this hobby is creating worlds in my head, creating a universe. Right? And sometimes that's taking a universe that someone else has created and
living in it,
and finding my own little niche in that world. And Space Wolves and fucking White Scars and all the Space Marine chapters, I fucking used to love that stuff. And my enjoyment with display painting comes from thinking about, oh, who is this person and what are they doing and where do they exist and what's their experience, and all those questions that you ask about a figure when you're painting it. That's the thing that just rustles my jimmies about display painting. And this little sojourn into 40k that I was tossing up with was purely because it's like I did like Deathwing, and I never ever did a Deathwing list. Wonder if I could do a Deathwing. That'd be fun.
And there's heaps of cool stuff happening around in Dark Angel's lore right now. The Lion's returned. I mean, I think that's a pretty awesome model. I think you would enjoy painting that model.
Maybe.
I just thought that was really cool that this is the something I like to talk to a lot of people about when we're talking about our interest in the hobby. Is like I never know that tomorrow I'm going to live in.
Yeah.
So I will never condemn something from my sight, you know what I mean? I'll never be like, I'm never going to do that, because more often than not, the things that I have a adverse to reaction to, right? There's much more going on under the surface. And when I really explore that, it turns out more often than not, I actually really like it in a weird way. You know what I mean? And so I've made that mistake too many times. And I'll give an example of this. Forever and a day, I was like, there is not a single thing about Skaven that I am interested in. It does not fascinate me in any way, shape or form, right?
Well, you're wrong, but okay.
But I now own Skaven models because they're really, really cool. And Skaven is cool. You know what I mean? Like, they've got a cool story, really, when you go and actually educate yourself on them. They've got some interesting stuff. The 9 layers or 7 layers of the warren that they live in is, and all the different clans on different levels, and the warring factions and how they punch on for supremacy, and then you've got the clan Molder elements, the Eshin elements, the characters.
So I've said this for a while, right? Someone asked me a little while ago, they're like, Dano, do you think you'll ever come back to War Machine? And I said, well, look, guys, never say never. But I'll never play War Machine again. Right? And so I said, I get what you're saying, right? You don't want to close yourself off to anything. You don't want to give
well,
up.
I think it's just foolish, right?
Yeah.
It's why would you shut off avenues of enjoyment for yourself?
Yeah. But my position on that is, I'm not going to repeat something, right, that I felt like I got everything out of.
Well, that makes sense, right? You've exhausted an experience. Until that experience becomes anew, there is no need for you to participate in it.
Yeah. So I like your mindset of never say never. I'm always going to be open to trying things, but there's also a time when you've got to be able to say, you know what, I don't need that shit in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And playing games of 40k is
well, the only time you don't need it in your life is if you decide that it's having a negative impact on your life, right? Or a non-existent impact.
Playing games of 40k is where I draw the line. Would I paint a 40k army? Absolutely. Would I play a game? No.
Well, there's a whole new rule set coming, right? It's another revamp. So 10th edition is due in June, July. Like, if you're a gambling person, if you look at the trends of previous releases, if you followed that along, I think they've said you're even going to be able to play it at Warhammer Fest, and I think there's a Kansas Con or something like that you'll be able to try it out. So it might even be sooner. I don't know. Either way, like, it's a new rule set, a new horizon.
It's a no from me, but I'm excited that you're excited about it, mate.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm excited about personally is that this will be the first time ever for a game that I've had fully painted armies done for it, multiple fully painted armies done for it before it comes out, So, which probably leans into that maximum immersion, right?
Yep. You're a fluff bunny.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, I'm going to bring up Timbo's model.
Yeah, please do. 11 you.
Oh dear, sweet prince.
Is that necessary for you to grow, or Timbo, or is that memeing for the sake of having a bit of fun? Ah, that's for sure. Okay, this is the character from 1883, right?
Or he could be from that other.
He's in a couple of shows, isn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, 1883. Yeah, great series. I've recommended this one to Trent. I've put this one up for Trent.
Yeah, I'll watch it. As soon as you watch Ted Lasso, you're a fucking idiot.
Ted Lasso can't inspire me to paint miniatures, though. So I'll say the same thing to you that I say to my wife, Trent. all in good time, my friend.
What's that? I've had some fucking funny memes, man. I tell you what. The last couple of days, I don't know why, I just fucking hit on some gold. Fuck me. It's been very funny.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'll ask you is, rather than looking directly at this,
No. Start.
You want to go into as a whole?
Start with a different question, mate. Start with a different question. How do you feel about it?
That's where I was going, but it's fine.
You were doing a shit, mate. You're doing a shit. Just do it properly. Just say, how do you feel about it?
Yep.
I know Kung Fu. He's a fucking criminal.
Yeah, Robbie's. I've let him down.
All right. Well, that's good that you feel good about it. Let me start with the positives. You've got a really strong value shift, which is important. Really strong light focus in the top right and really nice dark on the bottom right. You've got a good balance of values, I think, across the piece. I'm going to hand over to Bucks and let him talk because I need to think a bit more.
So I'm now going to do my question, which is, what do you think you've done well and what do you think you haven't done? While you're getting that to us, I'll talk a little bit about when you're doing when you're painting subject matter that is a replica of a human, like a real person that we can see. It's actually very different in a lot of ways to other styles, or I guess other subject matter that we paint, because you have a likeness that you're trying to accomplish. And often that likeness is often your references are actually real world references versus already painted miniature references or two-dimensional art. And so the way that impacts your process is different. And I can see that on this model already, in the colors that you've chosen for the skin, the way that the light is affecting the piece, and some of the textures around the clothing. You think you pulled off the skin better than you have before, and you're really happy with that. Also exploring the purple lighting slightly coming through. I'm not extremely happy with the hair. Okay, I'm not extremely happy with the hair either. I think the hair is the weakest part of this, so it's cool that you can identify that. And I agree with you that I think the skin is the strongest part of this. I think that your purple coming through is quite nice, and is quite atmospheric. and harmonizes well with the rest of the piece. I would say to you that you need to get your eyeballs in earlier in your process, as the direction in which they're looking will help build structure on the face and how you do it. Not having a focal point for us to look at can make it challenging at times to give you a really direct feedback on the face. Personally, for me anyway, I find that a bit challenging. You leave eyes till last, need to get more confident with them. Yeah, I think you need to bring eyes up in the process. It needs to be earlier on. Because eyes will impact the you know, and you don't have to finish the eyes. You can even just put in like the start with the black circles, and then even just a little bit of color, just something that starts to fill that void space. Otherwise, he kind of looks just like a zombie or whatever the case may be.
I'm gonna say something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there is much value in us going on 11 on this piece.
Mm-hmm. Neither do I.
Because I don't think you need to do any more learning. I think you need to do more painting. This is a fine piece that is starting to show you understanding saturation significantly better than the Goblin in things like the skin, but it's also showing that you haven't quite cooked that in things like the fabric or the hair. So you've just got to put in more time with the brush, mate. Us going to town on you right now is not going to create any information for you that is like revelatory, because it's just about painting.
There's actually just not a lot to go to town on as well. Would you agree, mate? There's not like, that's not like hiding away and saying, oh, we could shred this, we're just not choosing not to. You haven't got a lot here to like rip apart, and that's usually because going to town can only really be achieved when you've completely finished a piece.
But also it's a fucking shit boring like model, right? You've got skin, you've got hair, you've got a fucking scarf. You know, there isn't anything for us to critique about that. You know, it's not it's not a piece where you go overwhelmingly. You know, your composition sucks, and you know this is fucked, and you know your color palette's all wrong.
Your OSL is incorrect, and your light placements are wrong because it's not, you've placed your light source wrong for metallics or whatever.
Nothing like that to say, because it's just a really up and down, straightforward piece that you need to put on the shelf.
And hey, let's parlay that after this into a conversation about pieces like this in competitions such as historicals, and some of the things that you see in historical painting that's celebrated, where if it were to be brought across into more fantasy painting, would be probably torn to shreds. Because I think there's a conversation there. What do you think about that, mate?
I think we saved that for next week's topic: historical versus fantasy. Because that's a big bopper.
Sure. Well, there you go, Timbo. We've hit you with the hook now. So you got to come back next week.
So just keep fucking painting. That's your 11, right? Keep fucking painting, because if you keep doing, if your progress continues at this rate of the Goblin to now the next piece, you know, you'll get there. You know, look at Jared's progress over the last 6-12 months. It's not because we came in here and fucking smashed Jared all the time. It's because he painted. That's where you're at now. Just fucking paint. That is enough.
Yeah, just paint and paint without expecting that every piece that you paint is going to be better than the last.
Spear Oats, did you want us to critique your piece? Good work on finishing it though.
Finishing what? Spear Oats?
Yeah, he posted in there.
Oh, nice.
Very good, mate. Very good. Oh, look at that. You can see an interesting angle of that going on. I'm going to show you this and just see how we feel. This is going to be a pull the camera back and look at Deno's thighs.
Juicy side gap for us, there, mate.
Bit of thigh. Fuck me, this is a tall one, isn't it?
This could be the best one so far. You know how I feel about verticality, don't you?
I do know how you feel about verticality. I also am quite partial to some verticality.
I had a hard time in the initial composition because I really like the idea of the monk being the highest feature.
Mm.
But the only way I could see that happening is if you had the monk as the highest feature, the gin on the tree area, and then the swords, the 6-armed swordsman or swords person down the bottom. But I think your composition is actually right. I think that would have been wrong to go that way. I think that the fanned out pose is giving it quite a lot of it's peacocking, you know, it's flaring out.
I'm actually really not enjoying painting this monk. Isn't that annoying?
Okay. Is that really? Because the colours you picked are really, really nice.
This was a fucking dream to paint. An absolute fucking dream. And it's the worst model in the whole thing, probably. And
it's a really good model. The worst model in the whole thing is Pisces.
Alright, fair. I did enjoy Pisces too. This, I thought I was going to hate, was great fun. Not enjoying that at all.
Yeah.
I can do something about that, Jared. You know, I can add some brown to the rocks. You know, some of these more warm tones that are here. I do need to dark.
I think it's those colours. I don't necessarily think it's browns. I think it's ochres and yellow, warm yellow, mustardy sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do need to desaturate and darken some of the areas around these models to draw more focus to them, right? What I'm not enjoying about this at the moment is everything. I'm not enjoying painting the metals. I'm not enjoying painting the fabrics. I don't know. That's just a substandard experience so far.
Fair enough. I can't have any input on what you enjoy and don't enjoy, but I would say that aesthetically, it's pleasing me a lot, the colour palette of her.
Yeah, and I think that purple's nice, and I think I'll just add some of that purple in the rocks. You know, a couple of little splotches and maybe just a touch of the purple on here.
You know how I feel about purple as well.
Yeah.
You know, I have probably, of all the colours of the rainbow, I have slammed purple many times for being nothing but a bench player on an all-star team.
Yeah, and I'm obviously a little different to that.
Yeah.
Let's try and do something a little bit different. I don't even know if we're going to be able to do this, but let's try. I'm going to turn you off in a second, Bucks.
Yeah, sure thing.
Not your mouth, just your face.
No, just my face. No. Here on Weird Sexual Innuendos with Deno and Bucks.
Because I got the other two up here. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. So this is why I think, the sand colours is probably the go, right? Because the sandiness is going to tie into that. I have to try and lift these fuckers up, aren't I? But if you close your eyes. it's interesting to look at all of them. Thanks, Mini Den. You're a legend, mate. Yeah, interesting to look at all of them together because I think this scene works much better next to these. Because you get a little bit of the warmth from this, sort of pulling you away from this side, right? So, it's just this is such a cold palette, and when you just see it in isolation, it doesn't quite read right.
Hindsight is a beautiful thing, and I'm going to stick with the fact that the four together in the line is the way it's got to go. But I can just see right now at staggered levels, I can see fire in behind,
Yeah,
in behind water and earth.
would have been cool, hey.
It really would have. I think you can still do it too if you wanted to, but
Well, I mean, we could try.
because all you'd have to do is elevate it.
I've already done it.
Yeah.
I've already built it. I built it and did some cool stuff on it today. So, nah, it's not going to work.
Yeah, only because of. I mean, if you pushed it further to the other side, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been nice to do it behind, but
You could have had fire and ascendancy. That would have been really cool, right?
But again, I think I talked to you about that. Maybe there was even on stream where I wanted to do like a circular cavern up that would sit behind, that would have this, shape. But I think the single file is probably just a little bit more okay. Nothing about this project is screaming this is the best thing I've ever done, but I certainly think it's been the most.
It's really nice harmony. It does. Do you know? Obviously, it reminds me of the Elements.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like a rehashed, kind of reskinned version of the Elements.
Yeah.
And I like that. I actually like that. Using a previous kind of thing that you've done, and reimagining it or applying it to a new set of miniatures.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan of this piece. I actually really like it, and it's because it reminds me of a middle page spread in a hobby magazine, and I like that.
Yeah. It's fucking long though. Like when this one's on the end. How long is it? I haven't got my tape measure here. I've got my ruler though. Let me check.
Yeah, Luca's got some interesting points there to have a bit of a ruminate on.
It's about 60 centimeters long. There you go. Thanks, Mini Dan. I appreciate that. I think individual ones of these are really, really strong. I think this guy's really strong. This guy's really strong. This chick's got strong elements. And I think some of the others are weaker. And if I was looking to be the best version of these figures, I'd be able to put more time into this one or these guys. But I think what I'm trying to it doesn't quite work, unfortunately, because of the angles. These are both angled like this. Wonder if that would work. Actually, that could create an interesting.
It'd create a break.
No, it doesn't quite work.
Yeah, and I think even if that worked for those, it might disrupt the fire signs in the end.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't quite fit there. But
in a symmetrical way, that could be cool as well.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I mean, you can put them together however you want, right? That's
that's the thing, right? That's for the
whoever gets it. If it sells, if someone buys it, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think these two were just put together, and I didn't really have a clear vision. But as I sort of got into these, I started seeing how the whole thing was going to look. So that's why I think this one's so much stronger than the others in terms.
That might honestly be the final piece for a magnum opus, I think, is getting the light on a piece this big or these big, the big dios. Yeah,
Yeah.
getting the lighting right for everything
Yeah.
could well be, if you get that right, you'll do the best diorama you've done.
Well,
What do you
I'm
think?
hoping we'll have a good experience with the Nico Galaxy girls in the neon diorama, because I'm gonna have to do a lot of like neon lighting and stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
this the there's a few things about it. I think, Luca, that are slightly off, which is, this is such a warm tonality. Everything about this is warm. Started from a red base. This one started from more of a teal base, and then this one started from blues. So you've just got different atmospheres and ambience in them. In terms of value, this one's probably highest value at the moment, but there's elements on this that are also quite high value. I think it's more just that warm cold contrast that's
yeah. And what he's mentioning here is the same thing. It's the same feedback that I received from Natalia on Uther, for example, where I painted Uther's head completely apart from his body,
yeah.
and so spending that an hour or to 2 hours to finally reset light to touch every part of the model as it's unified is probably where
Yeah,
the improvement can be made.
that's the
That's
thing.
about if you can be bothered doing it.
when you paint one figure and you do a face and a torso at separate times, not in relation to each other, it's like, oh, okay, I just need to fix that. When you do
Yeah.
fucking 12 models together, being able
Yeah.
to balance all of those things on every model, and even understanding like how they all work in relation to each other, it just doesn't happen on this scale. Like
No, once the train leaves the station, it's only going in one direction more
I
often than
did
not,
not
right? Like
think
we're not
about
taking backward
this.
steps
I
very,
did not
very regularly.
think about this at all while I was doing this. I wasn't even thinking about this while I was doing this, and yet,
Yeah.
these two are so diametrically opposed. It's such a challenge. But there's a lot of things that I like that I have done right. I've gone purples into purples, and there's little touches of purple over here. And then the greens sort of unify these two together, and then there's reds in this one, and we're going to go to reds into the other one, right? So
Is both of these receiving a bit of a resin pour just on the corners?
yeah, exactly. Yep. So there and there.
Perfect, awesome. Yeah,
there
that
and
has
there.
to happen because
Yeah,
that's a big immersion breaker, that one.
Yeah,
Regardless of whether it's for a competition, not for a competition, or anything like that, that has to be done. I
Yeah,
think.
no, the water's definitely going there, and that I think will help. That'll also probably add a little bit of warmth here too, because the water's going to have a little bit of this teal colour mixed in.
Yep, beautiful,
Helps.
and then a bit more warmth mixed in
Yeah.
on the other side. Yeah,
A bit more
yeah,
of that
excellent.
sandiness. Here, I'll probably pull a bit of few of these plants off, and then maybe just touch a little bit up there. What I might do now is show off the fire, the composition of fire, because I think it's the best one of all of them. Maybe not. The air composition is really strong.
Yeah.
Really strong. But yeah, let's show off. Fire, burn.
All right, I finally found this image. So
Wow.
stupid.
What a waste of your time.
I'll put it in voice chat. Shit.
What a joker. All right.
You'll love it. You'll love it. Have a look at that.
See you, mate. Hang on. I'm going to fucking do this.
See you, Timbo.
Do this, dickhead. Have I painted Maya and Volgar bus? Which ones are they? I don't think I have.
So what star signs are these? Leo.
That's Leo.
Cancer? No, Cancer's is the crab, isn't it?
Yeah, this is Capricorn.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Capricorn's the dude diving off the.
Oh no, sorry. No.
No, Aries is the dude diving off the thing.
Yeah, Aries. This one's not Capricorn. Sagittarius. Sorry. Fuck, there's a lot of star signs, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, Sagittarius, the centaur.
Yeah. Centaur.
If you go by star signs, we do not get along well with Sagittarius. Don't mix well with them.
No. I don't mix well with many of them, mate. Oh, get in there. so that guy is alright. I'm going to look at his fucking picture. You dickhead.
You love it.
Yeah, pretty good.
It's very good, right?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'll pay it.
Yeah.
I'll pay it. Yeah, my favourite composition so far, I think.
Is this one?
Yeah.
That's a no from me. Absolutely.
No, which one do you think's better?
I think all three of them are better than this one.
What? Oh my god, you are so wrong.
Yeah.
You are so wrong.
Well, this is the beautiful thing about these pieces, right? Is they're so big and there's so much to enjoy that everyone can have different favourite parts, and that's what makes it really cool.
I can't see how you can feel that way, but anyway. So there's going to be a lot of hanging vines from this one. So we're going to have a lot of like vines hanging from the stuff. The rocks are going to be sort of black rocks. So we're going to go sandy into black over here.
Does anyone remember the red-white Ajani, like from way back in the day, from Magic the Gathering? This, the Leo reminds me of that Ajani. I'll grab a photo of it for you, Dano.
I would love if this guy was just a half an inch across to the right, because I feel like it's just slightly overbalanced to the left. But I think the big head is gonna help with that. And I put this in here to sort of stop that. I didn't sculpt that big mad head, no. That I could sculpt. That's very big. I could sculpt that. Small stuff.
There you go, Max. It's in shot.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Could be a useful little source of material.
I can't believe you don't like that composition. I think it's my favourite one. But I do like Air. Air is my second.
Aries is my favourite of the sculpts. Probably Shock Horror. No Shock Horror there.
Aries, this one?
Yeah, the one up the top.
That's
awesome.
my favourite.
He's got such, I'm a sucker for movement.
Yeah. It's probably not too late to do that. Actually.
Sagittarius in the middle, and you can swap Leo to the thing, the skull.
It's probably not too late to do that. We could probably still make that happen. That need a little bit of sculpting up here, but. It's maybe doable. G'day, Raymondo.
Hey, how are you, mate?
The issue I see is that she is... I suppose she could go front on.
There is her angle. That's her angle there. Just slightly forward. Tilted back slightly. Open her up just a little bit more towards us.
That can't be her angle, mate. That can't be her angle. Nah, that's bad.
It looks nice because your hand is covering the connection point. It looks nice.
This is her angle. Look at the way her face is looking. That has to be her angle. And then you get the
I think both ways is fine personally, but
then you get the nice shape of the horse. That's the right position for her. But I don't know that I've created enough space for her down there. I was sort of what I was trying to do with this one. So if you look at the others,
you're trying to put the big end on this side as well, so that it kind of frames it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I wanted the largest part of this one to be on the right hand side, so it sort of capped the four pieces on this side, with this bit on the end. And that was sort of like the end of this story. Was this side.
Oh, that's not. I hope your
See you,
doctor
Minnie,
appointment
then.
goes well, mate, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, you legend. We love you. You're the best. You're the best around. Thanks, mate. I think I'm going to stick with that. I do like the idea, but I actually also like this negative space and the skull and sort of this big frame. It's important to not just look at this in isolation, because you also need to look at this next to this.
Mm-hmm. Also, it's just important to do it because you want to do it, right?
Yeah,
like, let's not understate, like, perfect composition and all of these sorts of things. Like, if we practice what we preach,
Yeah.
you know, are you painting this for a competition?
No.
So let's, like, just go with what you like.
Yeah.
You know, in the end, it's going to please you first before anyone else. So,
you know, you've got this sort of nice line down, and then it goes back up on the other side. So it sort of creates a triangle down, you know, this down to this, down to this. But
yeah, and if that negative space in between the two of them needs a bit of filling, we can slam some branches in and call it a day.
Yeah. Well, so there's going to be a lot of hanging vines from this one. So that's going to sort of just tie in a little bit over here. And then I've got a lot of bones on the ground and a lot of black rocks, and then this tree is going to be scorched tree. Should be fun, man. Should be fun. I'm hoping that I enjoy painting this model because it's one I'm least looking forward to out of everyone. So I'm going to tick it off the list.
Yeah, I can see why you're going to knock that off first.
Yeah. And then I'll do this one. And I'll save that one as my
This as an experiment, mate. It could be worth kind of bringing them all up to a certain level and then just finishing them all together.
We could try. Anyway, I'm not gonna do any more on that Virgo or that fucking Libra tonight. I'm gonna just knock it over tomorrow, I think, or figure it out. She's okay. It just probably needs a bit of airbrushing and then a little bit of tweaking on the metals, and it'll look alright. But she's not my favourite.
I think if you make those loops on her the loops on her back thing, make them gold. The small loops.
No gold in this one. It's all silvers.
You don't think that could emphasize and add to it a little bit? It'd bring a little bit of harmony into it because you've got gold in the middle.
You could be right.
Ever so subtly as well. I'm
not known for my subtlety, Andrew.
I got some feedback about my painting today that suggested I have a flair for drama in my painting. I thought that was a
flair for drama.
Yeah. DC said you've got a flair for drama in your pieces and the way you paint them.
What a fascinating piece of feedback.
It was. I was like, it's kind of cool.
I'd love to get that bit of feedback about mine, but I don't have a flair for drama.
Well, that's probably because I listen to music when I paint.
Don't start me on this shit again.
How did you? Oh, mate, that was quite elegant in its setup.
You chump.
50 points to Hufflepuff.
Fuck off. 10 points to Hufflepuff.
Excessive dick stroking.
As we come to a close with this piece, I have to say I'm pretty chuffed. Like, I think it's been me finding a little bit of magic down our back.
Yeah, you're loosening up the shoulders, mate, is what I'm saying, you know?
Yeah.
You're feeling more comfortable in the later rounds, so to speak.
Yeah. So it's a good time for me to be prepping a model for the Guild Inn.
Yes. Yeah, do we want to cover a little bit? The Guild in. Some information has gone up for it. And if you're an Australian looking for a painting event, you can find that information, I believe. And this is where Jared drops the plug. Um,
Somewhere on the internet, friends. Somewhere. I don't know where, but it's somewhere, and you should all come along. Join us back, Bucks. Hello, mate. You're back.
I'm back.
No, he's back.
The Sydney Display Painters Guild. Excellent.
Yes, good on you. Flickster's back. He's back.
He's come back with the classic mantra, the 2021 mantra of the stream.
Jeez, we missed you, buddy. You going all right? What's been happening in the world of Flick? Fucking hell. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time. A long time. Oh, yeah, another kid. Well, congrats. I suppose.
It's often the case when spawn is involved. Alright, well, what are we going to do for the last 30, 40 minutes of the stream?
No, we're not going to do 30, 40 minutes, mate. I'm going to do a bit of sanding, and then I'm going to commiserate with myself for doing a shit model, and then I'm going to go to bed. Shit model. Okay. I'm so disappointed because it was one of the ones I was most excited about, you know?
Yeah.
And every time I build myself up for one, I usually fuck it.
The classic painting your unicorns, isn't it?
It is. You got to paint your unicorns.
The psychology behind painting your unicorns.
No, the model's great, mate. I couldn't figure out. I think I fucked myself with the colours, right? I think I was like, I need to do something different on this. I need to have different colours. And I think I just...
So you don't need to convince me that painting a whole model purple is fucking yourself.
Actually, they've all been nice to paint. They've all been nice. They've all been nice to paint. They've all been really good casts and all that sort of stuff. So no complaints if you got the models. Hopefully, someone out there is crazy enough to do what I've done and do all of them.
I'm yet to see too many people throwing their hat in the full Kickstarter diorama category.
Well, so far, it's me with 3, and then Daylight. And then no.
Joe did one, right? Did he do all the dwarfs?
No.
Yeah, he did all the dwarfs.
They're not all the dwarfs.
From Big Child, he did them all, didn't he?
That is definitely not all of the dwarves from that fucking thing. I don't think, anyway. Is it, Jared? Am I wrong? This would be a bad night for me if I'm wrong on that as well.
You've been wrong a lot lately, mate. There's been a lot of personal growth in that field.
Thank you. I knew there were 2 you didn't do. I didn't know there was 2, but I knew you didn't do all of them.
Suck it, Trebek.
Suck it, Trebek. Suck it long and suck it good. Alright, I'm ready to undercoat this base.
I'm disappointed, Jared. Why would you go that far and not just put the final 2 on?
So far, it's Deno, Daylight, and then no one in second place after Daylight.
Yeah.
Someone's got to get in there and have a go.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be me.
Mate, it's tough. It's fucking tough. Like, I got really excited after Camelot. I was like, I'm going to do this. This is going to be me.
Yeah, this is my identity. Yeah. I've found myself. I've got my niche.
I'm the guy who does fucking 12 model dioramas in 75 mil, and everyone else can suck my dick. And unfortunately,
you've sucked your own dick many a time on those projects.
No, Flick, Flick. I know you haven't been around for a while, mate. So let me show you the progress so far. No, it's not for anything, mate. It's just for fun. But yeah, let me show you a couple of them.
If you need a smash cut reminder of Camelot, Flip, just ask and we'll get it up.
Do you want to see
We'll
Camelot?
run the tape.
Do you want to see Camelot? I'll show you Camelot.
Run the tape. Run the tape.
Roll the tape. Roll the tape. Here's water. So that's the water one. Your kids have seen it.
It's generational. Come on, it's generational.
Oh, you'll love to see it. This one's the one that I haven't posted finished yet because it's not finished.
This is the one that he's having a little sook on.
Yeah, because this fucking mug stands here, and I hate it.
Yeah, he's having a sook. Even though it's probably the best one of the colours wise.
Shut up. And then this one's Earth. And all we need is heart. And then we have Captain Planet. Can I tell you, so there is actually a 13th model in this Kickstarter. Did you know that?
What is it?
So, I don't know what their fucking premise is, but this is the model.
It's something weird, isn't it? Yeah, okay.
And I don't think it relates to any star signs, but my initial pitch for this diorama was actually a circle, and
I remember that.
Yeah, like clocks in each segment.
She's the star, right? Is that her whole thing?
She was going to stand in the middle. Was my original plan.
She still could. You could have her. You could suspend her in the back of it all some way, in the dragons, above everything. Crazy.
Don't tell me that.
You can do it. You can if you can find a way to suspend her.
I can already figure out how to do that. I can tell you right now. I think I can do that. We'll spitball for a bit.
I've done it again, mate. I've done it again. This is the reason why he keeps me coming back on Mondays, because I am a fucking ideas factory at this point.
Yeah.
Right. He's got me, shackled around the ankle.
All right.
In Casa del Deno.
You fuck me, mate. You fuck me all the time.
Something a flair for drama, Flickstar. A flair for drama.
All right. Here's the scene. I'm going to turn your face off again, Bucks.
Mm-hmm. Send me back to the ether.
Get out of here. And here's Camelot.
Back towards your work home. Whatever that line is. Roll tape, quick. We need to do a full stream where it's all predetermined and Camelots are just going to drop, similar to the way that Brad Pitt slices cocks into Fight Club up in the top corner of the cinema.
Just little snapshots of Camelot.
We got to slice. Let's do this over the year. Let's slice weird bits of Camelot into Instagram posts.
Oh, that'd be so good. And then we'll do one of my cock. We'll do one. Just one.
No.
All right. So, here's the first thought. All right. So, the balance of the diorama is such that this is only very little for air. So the center point of the diorama is probably about here. Right? You with me so far? We can artificially shift it so the central point is here. And I feel like that fits pretty nicely with this shape, right? I can use something pipe-like, like this piece of PVC pipe that I have, right? I could create something that I could screw into the back of this without any difficulty whatsoever, to create a floating platform that sits above all of them. And I could then bend the pipe so it hangs out over the top, right? So it sort of floats above them. And we can put this chick on there. Why would we do that, though? Why would we do that? What is the zodiac theme of this? Because I don't understand it.
Surely, let's just write 2 snakes in the zodiac.
I need to go and look at the Kickstarter Because I don't understand what...
The two snakes are perfect partner together, equipped for believing one another and shaping a relationship that is relentless. No matter what sort of relation they have, this is loaded with fun and amusement. The two snake couple can be amazingly determined which follows something that they need. Well, that maybe ain't it.
Oh, actually, I read a thing today that said there's actually 13 months in the calendar of Greeks. And there's, or maybe it wasn't Greeks, whatever it was. So there's actually 13 star signs.
Hold up, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is.
Yeah, claptraps.
It's the serpent bearer. Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, is sometimes called the 13th or forgotten constellation of the zodiac. That's because the sun passes in front of Ophiuchus from about November 30th to December 18th each year, and yet no one ever says they're born when the sun is in Ophiuchus. So having him up the back there, or her up the back there, in the position of the sun, is literally genius.
I hate you. I was sitting there thinking to myself, come on, Deno, you just got to get through. You just got to get through fucking 3 more, and you're done with this ball terror of a piece.
Mm-hmm.
But I really feel like I've got to do this now, don't I? Jeez.
I'm here to challenge you and push you.
I'm going to open up and have a look at it. Because I need to...
Let's get some absolute... Do it for the vines in the chat.
Traps.
I want to see everyone.
You've been in the chat. You've been in the chat for 7 seconds.
The fuck out of him right now.
Clap
It'll
traps.
really elevate the piece. Love it. There's a pun there as well.
You've been in the chat for 7 seconds, mate, and you're already fucking busting my chops. I don't appreciate that.
Floating serpents is easy Deno work. Yep, the 2 serpents in one in either hand.
What a pack of dogs you are.
I'm loving that I'm at 91k, by the way. For everyone on Party Monday, I hit 100k and Trent has to paint me a model.
I do not love that at all. You got that in writing, by the way?
I do.
No, you don't.
I do. It's bonded in flame.
Wow, these are big dragons. These are big fucking dragons.
The wheel of the universe.
Oh, this is such a...
2 serpents in the hands of Deno. Exactly right.
Sounds like a normal...
Oh, yeah, exactly right.
Normal Friday night for me, mate. But it's just the 1 serpent with 2 hands.
The throttle, right?
Well, Claptraps, I thank you for your support of the show, and I hate you for making me do this. Alright, well, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Let's make the decision based on whether the piece itself works. The idea works, the concept works, the subject matter works, but if the sculpt doesn't work, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it is that simple.
Is it 2 serpents, or is it 1 serpent with 2 heads?
It's 2 serpents, I believe. The sculptor may have been liberal with it and done a 2-snaked head,
Oh, no,
2-headed snake.
No, it's not. It's two fucking dudes.
Oh, they're good-looking snakes too.
Yeah, they're pretty good. So this one's floats in. How's the fucking scale? Oh, I don't want to have to do this. We could even just put some sort of fucking platform there.
Alright, I'm going to give you an out. A singular out if you don't want to do this. These snakes could be really good features in other pieces as...
So, you know why I didn't like try to integrate this in this? Because I looked at it and I said, this is a super cool model. I really want to paint that. Like, that's just a cool figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was sort of thinking to myself, yeah, I'll just fucking paint this separately.
I feel like she can work because she's her composition is really quite circular when you look at it. She's kind of in a sphere.
MCP.
There was some nice little MCP reveals at Adepticon, wasn't there? Some cool stuff on the way.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Good couple of...
Is you still playing? You're saying you're still playing once a week?
Yeah, still playing once a week. Yeah, played the other day. It was good. Looking forward to painting up my Psylocke and my...
Yeah, Psylocke looks really cool. And Diamond.
Emma Frost.
Emma Frost, yeah. The White Queen, that's her name, isn't it?
Yep. In the film, she was played by January Jones. Fuck, she's an attractive woman. Fuck me. What I'm not feeling at the moment, and it's not a cop out. This is just a genuine statement. This is a very wide piece, right? So this is the base that it comes on, right? So this is quite a lot of area.
Yeah.
And when I put this here, I feel like it takes away from Capricorn, who at the moment is a very, king-like presence. We put this... It doesn't
always have to be perfectly central. It can be off-center. It can be asymmetrical. It can actually be in between your crab and...
Yeah. I'm not saying that's my whole justification for saying no. I'm just saying that is a factor here in what I have to decide. So the more central location is actually probably here.
Wait for it. We just build a fifth little base and slide it in between Capricorn, in between Earth and Water, for her to sit centrally by herself.
Mm-hmm.
Still maintaining the central control point, but...
Do you know how hard that would be for me to do? Because I fucking decided early on that I was going to have these on an angle.
Okay.
So these are actually cut like this. So I would have to get the cuts right on both of them. I could probably do it, but it'd just be me eyeballing the fuck out of it and then sanding. Lucy and the Calm, thank you for raiding. I don't know, man.
Let's leave it. Let's let it stew.
We'll let it percolate.
It's not going to impact. Yeah, let it percolate. It's not going to impact the completion of air or fire. So
no, it's not, and it won't impact those. But here, I'll show you my MCP claptraps. It's pretty cool. It's just up here.
Yeah, when my next burst of MCP inspiration comes, I think I'm going to do Web Warriors next. Whenever that happens, at some point in the year.
Fucking all these motherfuckers, man. Whee!
Hello, Plank.
Hello, Plank.
Flurker.
How good. Fucking... Did like
100... sad days for old Melkizzy, eh?
100 models. 100 models in whatever time frame that was.
Yeah, 6 weeks, 7 weeks maybe.
6 weeks, yeah, it's fucking wild. Thanks, mate. I like it. All right, I'm going on this train is finished building. We're not going to add that chick to this piece. I do think it is a good model that I would like to have by itself, because I think it deserves to be by itself. I think it deserves to not be the focus of something else. But I'm not writing that off completely yet, because there's a lot of cool symbology there in her that might be fun to paint.
Mm-hmm.
You know, might be fun.
Did your original idea have them all lined up in their actual calendar order?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna do it. In calendar order around the thing, which would have meant that each, like the water and the fire and the earth and the air, would have all sort of been a lot less variation, because they would have all sort of had to look a little bit the same. Warmonger, I don't really do commissions as such, mate, but I do paint stuff and then generally sell it.
Private collectors. If this is going to end up in anyone else's, they're going to be in a private collection.
Yeah. It'll either sit in my cabinet where I'll look at it and go, what a fucking legend you are, Deno, or someone will offer to buy it. And hopefully we'll find someone that wants to. But if it doesn't, and my fortunate position is that I don't need to sell these, I just get to paint them. I mean, if I sell it, it's great. If I don't, it's great. Still got to paint it.
Yeah.
I got cabinets.
That's what it's all about.
But I do sell everything, so it was probably whatever.
All right. Well, it's like 20 minutes till it's 10 o'clock or so.
All right, let's tap out.
Bit of a recap of tonight's hangout.
No, people can watch the replay, mate. You don't need a recap.
Yeah, well, that's true. What are we tackling next week, mate? Historicals.
Historicals. The figure painting of historicals. Here's a little bit of Andy for everyone, by the way.
G'day, mates. Yeah, so historicals and fantasy. And I reckon, you know what we have to get around me. Look at that.
Airbucks.
That is a champ right there.
Airbucks.
Airbucks, right? Over one of my childhood favourites, Isaiah Ryder, in the dunk competition that he won. So athletic. Airbucks. Would you believe at one point in my life I could do that? Or almost do that. No, we haven't done in a long time as well, mate. We maybe could do one on one night. We could do a lovely delve down the old putty and paint. We could have a putty and paint experience. We could break out our red wines or a kombucha in your case, maybe a beer, and we'll have a look at what's on putty and paint.
We could do that. We could absolutely do that. Let's go have a look at. I think Dion's streaming tonight. We might have a poke in what he's doing. He's building some MCP lists. I like that. But Cez is also streaming. She's great. I met her through Flick. Well, I didn't really meet her, but I dived into her stream after Flick raided into her. And she just does painting. She's a fucking champion. She's from Radelaide, but she lives in Scotland, I think, now. She's got 172 viewers, but yeah, she's a fucking classic. She does cool shit, man.
Alrighty.
All right, let's raid.
It's been real, mate.
Hey?
It's been real?
It has been real. Yeah, it's been real shit.
Yeah, it's sad to see you cop out on this final idea, but you know we can't always win chat. As we covered in our earlier, more serious part of the stream, you've got to learn to lose.
You do have to learn to lose, and I can lose with the best of them. Good on you, champions. See you all. I'm back on Sunday morning for my American-friendly stream, and Bucks and I'll be back next week on Party Monday. So, Big General out.
Laters.
Air Bucks out.
That is some good shit.